that occurred. And so again, this is in controlled airspace. All commercial aircraft are controlled by ATC. And the last one, I just got a little note here. The last one was April 9th, 1990. So I was actually in school at the time. This was an Embraer EMB 120 that had a head-on just after takeoff at 5,000 feet with a Civil Air Patrol Cessna 172. The 172 was flying into the blinding sun, and it impacted the tail of the Embraer, and it took part of the tail off, but the Embraer was actually able to make it back. And the probable cause on this accident, this is an Atlantic Southwest Airlines Embraer EMB 120 Brasilia commuter, and the Brasilia managed to make an emergency landing, although tragically the occupants of the Cessna were fatally injured. Before radar contact had been established with the ASA Brasilia by ATC, the two aircraft collided head-on in the vicinity of Gadsden, and I believe that, Gadsden, Alabama, at a range of about 2.5 miles south of the airport. 2 were killed. Probable cause, the inadequate visual lookout by the pilots of both aircraft, which resulted in their failure to see and avoid oncoming traffic. A significant factor related to the accident was the sun's glare, which restricted the vision of the Cessna 172 pilot. So anyway, and then we go 35 years later, and we're talking about the DCA crash. Now you can see I've got these goofy toys all over the place. Now, this is basically just a cheese ball outlay of Reagan National Airport in DC, okay? And you can see these little pink string, those are the glide slopes. We'll get into that in a second. We got little markers over here. We're just going to do a baseline. We used to have exercises in class where we had a gigantic airport that was the size of this living room. And we would have airplanes that, real big airplanes that the students would hold, and they would all walk really slowly, and then you would be the controller and you would control them in this, what we call this terminal control area. So I'm kind of doing a quasi example of what this looks like, so you can see here. But first, before we get into this, I have to explain some baseline terminologies to you so you can understand what the heck we're talking about. And we're also going to talk about these sticks, right? You're never going to look at two sticks the same way again, folks, okay? So let's go ahead and get into some of the details of this. Okay, so we're going to do some basic definitions of some stuff with you. All right, just some simple terminology. The first thing that you all know what an air traffic controller is, ATC. There you go.